Hello and welcome to Picture Astrology. Today we are going to talk about placement of Ketu in the ninth house of the horoscope. And there are many placements which are very difficult to classify as plain good or bad. Now, in general, everything in astrology will have certain good or certain bad aspects, but usually every position has a predominant nature. It tends to be one way or the other with obviously some shades of grey. But what I found with Ketu in ninth house, that this position in particular is really difficult to be categorized as either one of them. And it is in really truest sense lots of shades of grey, which depends, or the true interpretation of this depends upon various other influences and factors associated with Ketu and as well as the ninth house. Yet there are some things which are related to especially father. And when I say father, it means the nature in relationship with father as well as dealing with luck which is related to your family. And it also relates to the family wealth and how that wealth is utilized by the native. This also, needless to say, has a great impact on the spirituality because ninth house is all about higher knowledge. So in next few minutes we will see what are the practical conclusions we can derive regarding all these areas, and also what effects and impacts on Ketu in ninth house can tilt the scale of this position of Ketu from this way or this way. So here is the first example of the kind of dichotomy about the placement of Ketu here in ninth house I was talking about. So when it comes to the effect on a person's spirituality of the Ketu in ninth house, if you read 10 books, 10 classics or new books, you will find the description ranges from a person being almost an atheist or even cynical to someone with a description of great regards to traditions and spiritual practices. And this whole range of possible effects really brings down attention to the way in which Rahu and Ketu should be interpreted, which I've explained in some of the earlier videos of Rahu-Ketu series, that these are truly the points of catalyst, the accelerator or decelerators of the horoscope promise. So with this placement of Ketu in ninth house, if you find the Lord of ninth house strongly placed, either having some aspect on the ninth house or present in the ninth house itself, or at least in Kendra or Trikon. So when a planet is either in the Kendra or the cardinal houses, which is 1, 4, 7, 10, or in the trine houses, or it aspects its own house, then you can say that ninth lord is strong, and that can bring about a lot of qualities which truly spiritualists look for. Like it can give great intuition, it can give great regard for knowledge of different sorts, all kind of knowledge. Ketu here with ninth lord as described by me, or even say Jupiter having an aspect here or a strong Jupiter, gives a person who is not only knowledgeable, but they are someone who have an always great thirst for learning more. At the same time, they have great respect for not just what they know, but also what they don't know, and for others. So these people are really generous. They have a very broad outlook of life. They respect knowledge of different cultures. They can co-mingle, coexist with them very easily, and in doing so they increase their own knowledge base and horizon. So ninth house placed Ketu with strong ninth lord and strong Jupiter, or at least one of them strong, is one of the blessings in a chart which you can get from the spiritual life perspective. Now, another important thing which is related to their relationship with father, because ninth house is generally a house which shows relationship with your ancestors, rather, not just father, but typically with the whole lineage of your family. And it is, as you know, known as house of luck, which also represents luck or blessings which you receive from the father side of the family, which includes things like inheritance from them or help from fathers, in general in life. Now, Ketu here, with the kind of position I just described, with strong ninth lord in Jupiter, shows that the person has great respect for tradition, for their forefathers, and they usually remain quite devoted to them. Yet, for whatever reason, they either tend to not be interested in monetary benefits or inheritance from father side, or they don't get it. Depending upon the other placements in the horoscope, it could be either one of them. Yet they really don't feel bad about it. They sort of have a very positive outlook and quite generous in terms of money which they get from the father side inheritance. Many times people who have this placement and really well placed Jupiter in ninth house, they get a huge sense of social responsibilities, and a large part of wealth they may obtain from their parents, they tend to just give away, either for some kind of social cause or forms a trust for them or something like that. But the key thing is, they really don't mind not getting materially benefited from the inheritance. Now, one more aspect, one very important aspect in fact, which I have obviously read in many books and also observed in physical life, yet I'm not sure about the exact reason. And that is that with those placement of ninth lord in Jupiter, a person would be generous in dealing with others, but when it comes to spending money for themselves, they can be really frugal. And that really makes them good with money, good with savings, and also with financial planning of themselves and the family in general. And as I said, this is a general observation and I'm not 100% sure of why that happens that way. Now, another general observation about the father of the native. With the kind of placement I just described, you can observe that the father of the native has a very happy-go-lucky type of personality. Now, it doesn't mean that they are going to be like ascetic or they will be not interested in worldly matters. I mean, it can make a father to be religious and whatnot, and that depends on the 10th house, because 10th house shows the physical aspects of your father. Yet this Ketu in 9th house makes the father of the native sort of joyful personality. And even if they do not have all the material comforts, yet they would always be what is in Sanskrit known as Samadhani Prakriti, basically, which means someone who is always trying to look at the solutions and not at the problems of the things, which in Sanskrit it has very good word which I really like sometimes, but I don't know how to translate that exactly in English. But loosely saying, it is a personality who always have mind focus on the solutions rather than the problems. Now, apart from this, one more common thing which is covered in most of the classics is that they give the properties of being very courageous and at the same time rash to this Ketu in the 9th house. But the thing is that when Ketu is present in the 9th house, you will have Rahu in the 3rd house. And usually these properties are definitely more easily explained by the placement of Rahu in 3rd house, because 3rd house is the house of courage and at the same time it is the house of communication skills. So Rahu's presence here can give extreme tendency to gossip to people, Rahu in the third house. And this is another property, gossiping or talking about people, which you will find in many books associated with Ketu in the ninth. But as I said, this looks more straightforward when you connect it with the Rahu's present in the third house. Now, one very important and rather subtle observation is that when this Ketu is placed in the ninth house, it somehow gives a tendency of brooding over to people, and especially in cases when they probably do something which is not according to dharma, something which they probably should not have done, and in especially those cases they keep on brooding over that and try to find some or the other justification, or you can say that they repent their actions very easily, especially if there is any wrongdoing involved. Now, this subtle observation can be explained by actually looking at how karma is closely associated with Rahu and Ketu, and I plan to explain this in a video where I will also cover the Kal Sarpa Yoga, because as soon as Rahu-Ketu in different houses gets over, I will try to cover this very important aspect which is always associated with presence of Rahu and Ketu in a particular chart. So be on the lookout for that. But for now, thank you so much for being with me and spending time. I really hope it would have been useful to you. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.